Bellicon versus CELLERCISER. I've wanted to make this video for a very long time, for years now. I've had both. I have had both. I will tell you at the beginning of this video, if you're a Bellicon lover, I have actually sold my Bellicon 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So I have had both. I had them at the same time for a very long time, but I'm just going to go into it. I wrote some notes. So Bellicon is sturdy, bungee quality is good, soft mat, good customer service, elongation, and traction. Okay. CELLERCISER, now there's way more benefits to this, and I'm not a doctor, so don't take any of this stuff as, medical advice. CELLERCISER, the NASA studies were all done with metal spring. So all the studies that you read on the NASA is not for bungee style rebounders. Lymph drainage is crazy. Soft landing, sturdy, quality mat, easy to fold, good for heavy people. I am a heavy people. I don't remember what the bungees go up to on the Bellicon, but I do believe when I first got into rebound, when I first bought my Bellicon, I do believe I was stretching the outer limits of the highest level of bungee. The Bellicon is really good for people who don't have flat feet, don't have if you have knock knees, knees that come in, if you don't have bad knees, if you don't have bad feet, if you're a fairly light individual, if you're somebody who's just looking to really play around, I mean, that thing will get you like going to the ceiling. If you're somebody in that category, then the Bellicon might be good for you. Now, if you're somebody who has weight on you, and if you're getting into this and you're like, like I used to be like 405 pounds, I would not even bother with the Bellicon at all. The mat is way too soft for your size, and I don't care what bungee you get, you're going to be bottoming that thing out. You're gonna hit the ground. I guarantee it. It happened to me so many times. It hurts like crazy, especially if you're like doing a high bounce and you're getting up to the ceiling. I mean, not quite to that, but I mean, you can get up there pretty good with the Bellicon. And I actually, even the person that I lived with at the time, who was only 125 pounds at the time, she could bottom that thing out too. So it wasn't just me. So you got to watch on that thing. It is fun if you like the traction effect of it. If you're looking to drain your lymphatic system, the Bellicon is not the way to go. I'm going to say that right again. If you're looking for drainage of your lymphatic system, the Bellicon is not for you. It is not what it's good for. It is good for playing around if you've got good feet. If you have flat feet, it's also not for you, because your feet are going to pronate or overpronate in so bad, you're only going to last like 3 or 4 minutes on it at best, and your feet are going to be killing you. So take that into consideration. And also, even if it's got the fold feet on it, I don't know, I don't even know how they work, because I had the screw-in ones, but you fold the feet in, there's nowhere to put it. It's like 5 feet diameter or something like that. There's nowhere to put this thing. So you got to lean it up against the wall, or if you got a special room for it, then you're fine. But if you're somebody like I was, living in an apartment on the East Coast, and room is at a premium, and you got this big ass Bellicon, it basically becomes furniture, because people have to sit on it, because you got to get rid of your recliner to have this thing in your living room. Whereas with the CELLERCISER, and I'm going to get to the CELLERCISER, the CELLERCISER folds up or trifolds, and the trifold actually has its own little wheel stand, and you can kind of just put it in the corner whenever you're done with it. A few things about the Bellicon. I actually had the mat break on me. When I called, they sent me a new one because they said that's very unusual. I told them what my weight was. They said that shouldn't really make a difference. But that was freaky. I was in the middle of a bounce. I came down and I went right through, and I actually had bungees break on me also. And this was when I was more in the lower 300s, when it was within tolerable range. And I had changed the bands since my land whale days. So People are always like, well, you probably wore the bungees out. But those bungees that I had used when I was really fat, I knew that I could not keep using them because the little white powder was coming out of them. So I threw them out, got new ones, and put them on there. And I actually still went through the mat, even with intolerance of what those bungees were built for. And the mat is built for, I forget, like a 2-ton weight limit or something like that. And I actually went through the mat. So that's my Bellicon thing. If you have any questions, I try to think of all this stuff, but if you have questions, just leave them down below. CELLERCISER is the one that I would choose 100% every time. Choose it every time. You know, if I had to do it over again, I would never even have bought the Bellicon. The Bellicon was just, I couldn't jump on it for very long because my feet would pronate in, because that mat is just way too soft. I mean, way too soft. You can, if you have the opportunity, if you're in like New York City, I know there's studios you can test these things out in. I believe if you're in Chicago, there's also studios that you can test these things out in. I actually test them out in New York City. That's how I knew. Oh, another thing about the Bellicon, you can get 3 different mat sizes. I believe they still have that. I got the middle one after I had tested it out. I really didn't see the point in going any bigger than the middle one. And that's going to be my transition into CELLERCISER. CELLERCISER only has one size mat, and I actually did not notice any difference between going from the middle one of the Bellicon to the CELLERCISER. I didn't feel like I was going to fall off. I didn't feel like I was going to go flying off. I do always keep the mat skirt on there. I haven't had any time where I fell off and hit the springs or anything like that, but I don't want to have the first for that. The transition period, when you're coming back down, I don't jump a lot on the CELLERCISER, but the transition period is amazing on that thing. It catches your weight so good. And I'm not even talking about jumping, just doing a regular health bounce or something like that. The way it's like pillowy, but it's very stiff at the same time. It's pillowy but stiff at the same time. It's not pillowy like the Bellicon where you're getting the traction. It's a pillowy, stiff. It's really hard to explain, but it catches, and you can feel your lymphatic system actually moving. I mean, you can just feel the lymphatic system moving, the fluid moving. The first couple weeks that you do it, you might really have a lot of lymphatic movement. Just be aware of that. So it's just the better one of the two. I think it's sturdier. And if you've got flat feet, or if you've got knees issues, or if you have any lower leg extremity issues, the mat and the spring combination is so much better than that bungee cord system. The bungee cord system, it forces your knee or your feet and your knees almost to collide when you're coming down. It's just not great. So if you're somebody who's like ideal body style for that, it's fine. But if you're somebody who is not an ideal body style for that, the CELLERCISER is your way to go every single time. It can fold up, so if you've got, you know, a small apartment, you can just fold it up after you're done using it. You can take it out in the weather. I think you can take the Bellicon out in the weather too, but I never really tested it. I have taken the CELLERCISER out in some crazy weather. One time I did a video, I don't even know where that video ended up, but I did a video when it was snowing outside and CELLERCISER, and I was having a lot of fun. So it can handle the weather a lot better, and I know that mat is supposedly able to withstand any kind of climate if you leave it outside. I don't know too many people who leave it outside, but supposedly the CELLERCISER can handle that. And it's just a lot more. I think if you're in it for the weight loss, the CELLERCISER is also going to help you out. You know, that NASA study said that it burns 11 times more calories than walking, 6 times more calories than jogging, and 3 times more calories than running. So you can do all this while you're in your house. You don't have to go anywhere for that. The point of entry is a little steep, but once you bought it, I mean, I've had mine for like seven-ish years now, and it doesn't show any sign of wearing out. The one thing that you will have to know is it's a lot noisier than the Bellicon. If you put a little bit of oil on the spring, on each spring, it kind of soaks in, and it's a lot quieter than it was when you first get it. I never actually did that, but mine's pretty quiet. It's gotten quieter over the years, and honestly, if I dusted it off and put it in its little bag over here and opened it up, people would think it was brand new. And I've used this thing almost every day for the last 7 years. So the quality is extremely good. If you're somebody in the normal category, or if you're somebody in, the overweight category, the CELLERCISER is 100% the one that you want to go with. If you're somebody who has, I really hate to even recommend the Bellicon because of how many times I bottomed out, on that thing. And even a 125-pound female, I saw bottom out on that thing. I struggle to recommend it, but if you're somebody who's looking for the traction effect, or if you're somebody who can just afford both, and one day you want traction, because it will elongate your spine. The CELLERCISER, really, you don't notice that, but if you're on the Bellicon, you do notice that elongation and the traction effect from it. If you're looking for that, then yeah, if you're not looking to be on it for very long, but then you could just get a traction device, and I think they're like $200. So, the Bellicon's like $1,000. So, I don't know if I even recommend it for that. If you're somebody who just doesn't care about money, got all the money in the world, and you want to have both, go for it. But if you're somebody who wants to just buy one and have it just last for basically a lifetime, and will always be, perfect for your feet and your knees and your hips, then you got to get the CELLERCISER. That's the only really option that you've got. I've tried some of the other ones. I've tried Rebound Air, and there's one more. I can't think of what they're called. Actually, I know a guy who has the other one, Needak. Might be a Needak. I know somebody has a Needak, Arnold's Way over in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. I tried it out, just didn't care for it. For as much as that thing costs, it felt like the Urban Rebounder to me. Where, as you know, when you get on the CELLERCISER, it is significantly better than most any other ones that you've been on. I have not been on the Rebound Air, so I can't speak to that one. So that's my video. I might cut some of this out. If not, you get to see it all. And if you got any comments, leave them down below. I've had both of them. I had the Bellicon for almost a decade, and I have the CELLERCISER for 7 years. So I can answer just about any question you got. Leave them down below. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll talk to you next time.